Welcome to HD Nation, your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Robert Heron.
We got a lot of great stuff coming up in today's show, starting with one of the coolest stories we've seen in forever. Traditionally, the gateway to films getting turned into digital files, like films, like actual film on a reel, is the digitization process. And somebody's put together a DIY film scanner.
Heck yeah, it's not as expensive. Well, at least it won't be for much longer. A gentleman named Matthew Epler has crafted a device that he dubs an open source film scanner.
So cool. The
scanner hardware uses a traditional DSLR paired with a cleverly 3D printed sprocket that can handle a variety of film sizes. Now, he uses software to interpret the optical soundtrack, and it also handles the de-jittering process as well as the images move past the camera itself. At the heart of the beast is a Raspberry Pi unit, which of course is also making it quite the cool. Now, cost is really the big deal. Now, he gives some examples too of how much it costs to scan traditional film with services and tools available today. This is a fraction of that. Talking really the total project, I believe he listed a price of under $3,000 or about $3,000. And you compare that to a 0 or 2 more compared to some of the pro systems that they use for film restoration and scanning. So
it'll be interesting to see what the next evolution of this is. It the equivalent of a 4K scan, an 8K scan? Because right now, if you have all the money and say a classic title like Wizard of Oz, like an 8K scan is the ultimate way to go. But in that case, they actually manually corrected all 3 of the Technicolor reels, matched them up, color correct them, repaired any errors in the negative. It'll be amazing to see what people find, what they digitize. Like, imagine if you're at some huge research library or some huge sort of research university and you just find all of the films in the library and start digitizing them and posting them online. Could be incredible, could be awful. I think it's a freaking amazing hack. I'm excited.
If the cost is low enough too, I could see people just doing it themselves, setting up a system. Maybe they've got a bunch of films or their own old 16 or 8mm film that they've been saving forever, and really they don't entrust a third party to take care of it. This might be a way for you to do it yourself, and I like that.
If you're running 8mm home movies, send them to Costco.
Oh, maybe
They'll digitize them for you without unless you're really bored and you've got the money.
Adventure
is out there. Another news, according to a post on avsforum.com, a company named Ultra D, headquartered in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is bringing its glasses-free 3D technology to store shelves by year's end. Demonstrated on a Hisense Quad HD LCD panel, the author of the post was very impressed by the quality and visual comfort of the demo that included Life of Pi and Avengers. It is text-heavy, but it's always interesting to hear what people who've actually seen the new technologies are. Since the Ultra D technology claims to provide a distinct 1080p image to each eye simultaneously, image detail should be excellent, if not potentially more detailed than any current 3D TV out there. First screen sizes are going to be 50, 58, and 65-inch models, priced aggressively, we're told. Can we get one in for testing?
I think we can, especially with the prices they're talking about. We should be seeing these well before the end of the year, I'm hoping. They want them out there in time for the holiday season for shopping. But I'm most curious about this technology, too. If it's actually taking that 4K screen and delivering 1080p at least to each eye, and it's a distinct view, that could provide more detail than is currently possible with 3D technology as we look at it today, and that's a good thing.
The $64,000 question is, can a small company from Philadelphia sock it to the major companies like Sony and LG and Samsung? I mean, how many companies are currently working on glasses-free 3D technology?
All of them? All of them.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the 4K panels, because that gives you the resolution you need. If you can put the right splitter, in a sense, this is using basically a filter on the front of the screen in order to put a distinct image to each eye, providing zones of viewing, in a sense.
And this will be new HDTVs, not retrofitting to old HDTVs.
No, but the company is claiming that their technology is agnostic in terms of what technology they put it in front of. So it could be on a plasma, it could be on an LCD. We'll be waiting with bated breath, but it's going to be coming first on LED backlit LCDs, and that'll be. I'm curious to see how this looks, especially for anything that can improve detail on screen and getting more information into my eyeballs. I'm all for it.
And do you have a 3D film you actually like at this point?
I gotta say, I've watched Hugo enough times to say that's a darn great flick, but Life of Pi is the one I need to go back and watch again.
Okay.
That one is just turning out to be, I think it's one of those movies you either...
it looks fantastic, but I'm still so pissed off at the book, I will never watch the movie.
Okay.
I'm just saying. So you can tell me about Life of Pi. I'll watch Hugo over and over. If you don't have it, Martin Scorsese's like love letter to his grandkids. Hugo is a spectacular look.
That and how it blends history with cinematography with a great story
and the history of cinema.
That too, and it presents it in just one of the best built for 3D presentations that's currently available on Blu-ray disc. So if you haven't checked it out, even in 2D, it's worth checking out.
I was going to say, it's spectacular in 2D. It is a benchmark title to me for displaying how awesome your home theater is.
Always.
All right, we got this email from Laurel. She might have found sort of a DIY Airplay clone for smart TVs with built-in YouTube and Netflix apps. She writes, a few months ago on my iPhone, I noticed a little icon on Netflix and today with YouTube. See the attached picture. It looks like the Chromecast icon, and when I pressed it, it started up that app on my LG TV. Is this some version of what the Chromecast does? It doesn't show up when I tried it on another LG TV. Does it have something to do with my set? Laurel in San Ramon, California.
Yeah, it could be that newer TVs are supporting this, but it appears that most smart TVs, at least with YouTube, can be paired to your phone's YouTube client for auto launch and playback. And
so it's not DLNA, it's literally YouTube specific.
And I've got the Chromecast-like icon at the top here. I've got a little doggy video playing, send it to the TV, connecting. We'll see if this actually works. We'll find out here in a second. There it goes.
I get excited when things work.
The nice thing though with the YouTube client I'm seeing here is that it provides full playback controls too.
Bentley, the bulldog puppy, is fussy.
Veronica had suggested this as a video I might want to watch. So, hence, if the dog actually starts playing here, there he is. Aww. So yeah, you're getting similar to at least Chromecast in the sense that you can do playback and control with your smart device on your TV. That's also equipped with that app as well. We tried this also with Netflix, and it does work too. Although we had a couple issues switching back and forth between different phones.
And we should point out this is a Samsung HDTV, not an LG HDTV.
Totally, that is a good point. So it's there, and so some of that functionality we're highlighting with Chromecast is actually available, built into your set if it's one of the newer TVs with the app system built into it, and that's worth checking out if it's something you were like, oh, I didn't get the Chromecast, but hey, you might already have most of the technology to get it going.
Update your phone, whether it's Android or iOS. Update your television, no matter who made it, if it has an onboard YouTube or Netflix app, and then see whether or not that button shows up. It's kind of interesting.
I can pause the TV.
Because she was on iOS and LG, and you're on Android and Samsung.
Totally. There's a lot of cross-platform love going on here, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this and go back to Bentley. Pretty good. Here, I'll jump this back.
We got an email from Jason who's pretty excited. He says, I wanted to show off my setup with you guys. I had the idea to put some backlighting behind my Samsung UN55 F7100. I got a 12-foot rope light from Home Depot and some plastic stick-on hooks from the dollar store for a total of about 10 bucks. I also had a dimmer switch that I hooked up to the rope light, and the effect I got turned out better than I expected. I was initially worried that the rope light would heat up too much, but it turns out they run pretty cool. I thought about using an LED rope light, but I think the color temperature would be too cool in the color temperature sense, not the actual physical temperature sense. I like watching HD Nation by downloading the episode onto my SSD and hooking it up to the TV. I'd love to be able to watch in 1080p though. You guys are doing a great job. I love the show. Keep it up, Jason. Jason, thank you so much. And if you're wondering why anybody would stuff light behind their television, well, do you want to get kind of the get detail on that?
Bias lighting is what we're talking about.
Right.
Now, if you're a fan of letterbox movies, but your HDTV's black level, or how dark is black, is more of a glowing gray when viewed in a dimly lit room, like many edge-lit LCDs out there, adding this bias light behind the screen can make that glowing gray appear a lot darker. Now, taking things a step further, we talk about Philips Electronics. They introduced a bias lighting tech called Ambilight years ago that used red, green, and blue LEDs to provide basically all the color possibilities you could want, including the ability to match the color being output with the on-screen content.
Well, there's kind of two things going on. One, it was a cool technology in a terrible television, so nobody bought it and went away.
That's a good point.
Two, is there any advantage to having the color of the bias lighting be related to or matched or to the primary colors that are on the television?
I think Jason was on a better track in terms of image fidelity and providing a neutral colored light behind the screen. You actually want it to be a very neutral white that's behind the screen. Coloring that light does look impressive, and I think it could draw your eyes to the screen, and it's good for, I don't know, if you want to decorate the room with light. That's a good thing there. Also, we'll take a look at a site here that's showing off some do-it-yourself Ambilights using Raspberry Pi hardware. And the DIYers have run with this one. They incorporate inexpensive microcontrollers, a fistful of resistors, and some time behind the soldering iron to produce some pretty cool effects. On this video, linked from the How To Geek website, shows off a pretty sweet Arduino-based setup that's pumping out 60 watts of RGB LED goodness, and I have to say, that demo in particular, if I'm going to do that dynamic lighting system, that's pretty impressive. A, for the brightness, but also how well it's tracking the color on the screen and mimicking that behind the display.
60 watts seems like a really bright light to put down.
I've got like a 5-watt LED that lights up a room, so that's a bright setup there. Well, maybe not so much there.
If we were measuring your flat panel in terms of like a wattage of a light bulb, would it be 100 watts?
Oh, no, much lower. And
really?
it also would depend too on the brightness of the room. Okay. So you're basically balancing those two items out to produce just enough light to where it's taking the edge off of the display, so that, especially when you're looking at it in terms of letterbox content in particular, it gives you basically a darker black level. It appears darker, even though you're not changing anything on the screen. You're changing your perception of it by adding more light behind the display.
Will it make it a little less painful if some people, because I know some people find it really painful to sort of walk into a room and there's the bright box of light. Will bias lighting sort of make it a little less traumatic on your eyes?
Totally. For an uncontrollable display, maybe you're dealing with a rear projection system in particular, where you can't really be adjusting the brightness of the TV up and down as much as you would want. That kind of bias lighting system would help that in terms of eye comfort, as well as picture performance, just making it appear better, even though you're not, like I said, not changing anything on the screen, but you are actually affecting how you perceive it. And for that, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Did you know there are secret Netflix settings?
I had no idea.
This is cool. There are secret Netflix settings to allow you to at least try to improve your watching experience. You can change things like buffer bitrate, AV sync, and load custom subtitles. This comes from the Life Pro Tips subreddit. I love you, Reddit. Here's how to do it. While you're watching Netflix, Instant Play, hold down Shift and Alt. So in this case, it's Shift and Option and click on my Mac, and Shift and Option and you can actually go in here to the Stream Manager and adjust the buffering rate, so we're maxed out on that. This is good. I can turn the manual selection off, and if I go in here to Alt again, let me close that. Shift, Option, click. You can actually load custom DFXP files. You can look at your log information, what's going on. I found it kind of fascinating to kind of get inside this. And of course, I just clicked back on my browser, so we're going to lose that web page. It looks like these settings do not apply to other devices that are associated with your account. So if you got a Roku or a smart TV, we haven't found a way to go in here and manipulate Netflix to change the settings for those. But the Reddit page, and Reddit, I love you. The Reddit page is pretty awesome. It gives a list of tons more shortcut keys, including a way to access these settings on your PS3 or Xbox 360.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the AV sync options, just in case if you can't adjust it on the TV or on, say, your AVR, you have an option to get the lip sync just right.
Yeah, display AV stats on screen, codes, frame rate, plus other unknown info, menu items. It's just really cool. I love you, Reddit. You are full of awesome
stuff.
So, we talked about some of our favorite picks, some of your favorite picks for over-the-air antennas. You guys went nuts talking about over-the-air viewing habits. We got a credible list of emails. This is some of our favorites. Ken wrote in, my daughter and I built a DIY gray Hoverman-style antenna 2 years ago. It picks up 39 channels here in Wichita, Kansas. I had previously tried several different retail antennas and styles with limited or mixed results. Our area broadcast towers are in two opposing directions from us, and the gray Hoverman was the only antenna that would pick up the signal from both directions. Our stations are on both VHF and UHF frequencies. The spectrum is pretty much saturated here according to the new Google Spectrum database. One note, multipath was an intermittent problem we had to deal with on our TiVos. The simple solution was to apply a 3 dB attenuator just prior to feeding a 10 dB distribution amp. We run a total of 4 TVs and 2 DVRs off this one antenna. Our picture is better than we ever got from cable, satellite, or Fios or IPTV, even with their HD channels. We have been cable, sat, IPTV free for over 2.5 years. Since then, half a dozen friends and family have followed our lead and done the same thing. Ditch those TV bills, America, says Ken F. I love that.
Awesome. Hey, Mike emailed with, I love the show. I live 35 miles north of Chicago and I'm tucked behind a hill.
Always a problem.
I went to antennaweb.com and the website did not give me a definitive answer as to whether any antenna would work or not. And I didn't want to risk $100 for a commercial antenna. So after a little research online, I decided to spend $9 and build a 4-bay Mickey app. Not sure. A 9.5 by 9 bow tie antenna, much to my surprise. Putting it in the attic, and after a little adjustment, I was able to receive both Chicago and Milwaukee stations. That means on Sunday, I get both the Bears and the Packers games.
It's one of those.
That's pretty cool. I like that. In 1080i, Sweet sign mic. Very cool. And you know what? That looks like an effective antenna, and it didn't cost a whole lot to put that together. So
that's a good thing. Yeah, basically hanger and PVC. Michael says, I love the show. I live on the border of Mississippi and Louisiana, 45 minutes from New Orleans and 45 minutes from Biloxi. Hurricane Isaac blew down my Radio Shack VU90. Since then, I've been using antennas in my attic. I have an Antennas Direct C2 and C4, a Mohu Sky, and Antennas Direct 42XG connected to a Channel Master CM7777 preamp. I have 2 pointed to New Orleans and 2 pointed to Biloxi. I now get local channels for both markets. I have them hooked up to my 2 televisions integrated into my Direct TV guys, as well as my HD Home Run, which I can adjust the signals via the Signal GH app for my iPhone. Thanks for all the hard work y'all guys do. Really enjoy the show. Michael in Pecan, Mississippi. That's so cool.
Damn, man. I am impressed. Hey, and Ray followed up with, the over antenna I use is the one from here at this URL. Basically, HD Blade. I found it to be better at picking up more channels than the Mohu Leaf and pretty much any other flat antenna, and it's cheaper than most as well. I love those options. Signed, Ray in South Florida. Thank you so much.
Good to know. And one more, it's kind of funny because we just got a lot of, we never really expected to get this kind of response because we don't get dozens of emails about over-the-air antennas until we did. So apparently a lot of you are into the over-the-air experience. Brian likes the Mohu Leaf, and he says, I've been using the Mohu Leaf for a while with great results, especially after adding an amplifier to it. It's optimized for UHF, but most of the broadcast stations in the Atlanta area are in that band, so it works well. The only things that I can't receive I would like to are the local PBS stations, but I think they may be running at relatively low power, says Brian.
Hey, we want to thank you guys for writing in with all of those terrific responses about how you're doing over-the-air broadcast reception on your own or with the products you love and sharing it with us.
Oh my goodness, I have to put an antenna in my house immediately. Hey, before we go, I want to mention the TechFeed channel is closing in on 100,000 subscribers. YouTube.com/TechFeed. To celebrate, we're having a 100K subscriber contest. We're giving away some great prizes as we get more subscribers. At 97,500 subscribers, just a few hundred away, we'll be giving away 12 iTunes gift cards, each one a $25 value. And at the big 100,000 subscribers, one lucky viewer will receive an iPad mini.
Nice.
To enter, it's easy. Just share any TechFeed episode on Twitter or Facebook using #TechFeedMe. And hey, you got to be 18 years or older and legal U.S. residents. Check out the TechFeed Facebook page or the show notes below for more information. And hey, that's it for this edition of HD Nation. Please subscribe to revision3.com/HDNation or email us questions at
HDNation@revision3.com. And that's right. Hey, if you're watching via YouTube, please also post any comments, questions, or suggestions right down below. And until next time, thank you for watching.